Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Today, I am joined by Dr. Sarah Nicholas with Tampa Counseling and Wellness, and we're going to be talking about VA compensation claims, DBQs, Nexus statements. But before we get into that, hey, make sure you go ahead and click that link in the description section and pick up your copy of my new book, the VA Compensation Blueprint. It is time to win. These will be shipped out at the end of October, 1st of November. Okay, you can follow along with me as I file a John Doe example claim. Dr. Nicholas, welcome back. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Dwayne. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, I definitely appreciate it. I know you're so busy, and it's been a couple months since we've done a live and recorded a previous interview where we talked about DBQs, Nexus statements, and just a little bit about the whole process of things that the veterans need to give their claim the best chance to succeed. So, guess what? We're just going to jump right into some questions that I have for you. Is that okay? Or is anything that I'll tell you what? Let's do this. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is you do, and why you're doing it. Let's get that out of the way first.
Absolutely. So happy to be here. My name is Dr. Sarah Nicholas. I am the owner of Tampa Counseling and Wellness. We are a private practice in Tampa, but we serve veterans all over the United States. We provide mental health, disability, DBQs, and Nexus letters, as well as addendums and medical opinions for folks who are struggling with their mental illness. And I'm really excited just today to talk about some of the ways that you may be eligible for a mental health claim.
So, before we get into today's questions, you said something that stood out, Dr. Nicholas. You're able to serve veterans from all over the country. So, you've served veterans all over the country, meaning you've done DBQs and Nexus statements for veterans in different states, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to point that out because a lot of veterans, they hear Tampa, Florida, and they're like, oh, I'm in Arkansas. I'm in Southern Illinois. Can I reach out? Well, they're in a different state. Yes, you can. All right. So, Dr. Nicholas, the first question: why would the VA connect depression or anxiety or any mental health condition to something like back pain, tinnitus, or sleep apnea? What is the actual medical link here?
So, physical pain, physical conditions, and mental conditions are so connected to each other. When someone's going through chronic pain from a musculoskeletal issue like back pain or shoulder pain, their nervous system is constantly being impacted. Every time you get that feeling, your nervous system is being impacted. The same thing happens when you have something like sleep apnea or tinnitus, where you're constantly sleep deprived because you're not getting enough sleep. Every time your body's going through that, your nervous system is impacted. So there's constant stress on your body, there's constant stress on your mind. And over time, that can turn into a psychological disorder. So much so that the DSM-5, the book that we use to diagnose psychological disorders, has an entire section just for psychological disorders that come from medical issues. And this can look functionally a lot of different ways in a veteran's life. So a good example of this would be if someone has chronic pain from a back condition, over time, that stress on the body creates irritability, right? And their fight or flight system is constantly on edge. And so that looks like you're irritated. Maybe you're taking it out on your family members and you feel guilty about it after. Or you can't do the things that you used to be able to do. Maybe you're not as active as you used to be able to be. And you feel guilty about that you can't spend time playing with your kids or doing things with your loved ones the way you used to be able to. Another way is if you're constantly sleep deprived, your fight or flight system is constantly on edge, and and that creates irritability, right? So maybe you're arguing with people the way you're arguing with people in ways that you didn't used to argue with people, or you start to worry about different things because if your fight or flight system is on edge, you start to worry about different things. So that starts to look like psychological disorders over time, things like depression and anxiety.
Okay. You mentioned something When you were explaining that the DSM-5, you stated that that's where you go. Now, is that where you go to determine, or does it give a definition of a mental health diagnosis?
Absolutely. So when a veteran calls in, they'll say something like, my back pain is causing me to be depressed, or my tinnitus is starting to cause me anxiety. And those are very valid points. And my job is to take that lived experience that the veteran has and put it through my evaluation, put it through medical scrutiny to see, do you meet the diagnostic criteria for a specific medical, or sorry, not medical, psychological condition. Something like depression has very specific symptoms that someone needs to meet the criteria for in order to meet the criteria for a psychological disorder. So when you come in, our job is to take your lived experience, assess it, and put it down into an evaluation where it's going to hold up to the VA scrutiny of what a psychological disorder is.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Because a lot of veterans, they'll ask me about, well, how does the VA diagnose on mental health? And, my little two classes in college, Psych 101, and I think, I can't think of the other one. No, Psych 101. The other one will come to me, the other psych class. But that's as far as, my psychological background goes. So, another question. A lot of veterans say, I'm depressed because of my injuries. What's the difference between that statement and what you, as a psychologist, have to put in a DBQ?
So again, when someone comes in with something like that, my job is to take that lived experience and put it in a way where a rater can see a full picture of what your mental health struggle looks like. So I'm going to take a full timeline of when your mental health started to struggle and what that looks like and how it matches up, if it matches up, and how it matches up to the physical condition that you're experiencing. So perhaps it was fine at first, but over time, as you were struggling with this physical condition, it started to take a toll on you mentally, or it started to impact a psychological condition that you already had. So my job is to take the timeline and make it very specific, then take medical research and add that to it so that the VA rater can see, oh, this is something that's been researched over time. It's a very common thing that a veteran could experience, in addition to putting your medical records into context and really developing an entire very specific picture for the rater so that there's an undeniable claim there to having a mental health disorder that's very specifically linked to your physical condition.
Thank you. Thank you. So, if a veteran had their secondary mental health claim denied, how can a better evaluation or DBQ change the outcome?
Honestly, a quality DBQ can make all the difference in someone's claim. I have so many veterans call me, and one of the main reasons why I have found from speaking to veterans that they get denied is because there wasn't a clear picture for the rater between their physical condition and their psychological condition, or the rater has perhaps inferred that there is something else that's causing the mental health condition, not the physical condition. And so again, my job then is going to take that denial letter, see like, oh, why did they deny it, and then see if the initial DBQ that they had, either from another evaluator or from a CNP exam, that wasn't specific enough, because honestly, that's what happens, that the first DBQ they had wasn't specific enough, and create that very specific timeline for the veteran so that the rater can see very clearly, no, actually, there is a clear connection between the mental health condition and the physical condition.
You mentioned something about what you review, and you said to review that rating decision when you're going back and doing this the follow up DBQ, and I think that's so important because a lot of veterans, I don't think they think to give the examiner, hey, this is why the VA denied me, because you as an examiner, you need to know exactly why they said no. And I've always tell veterans, keep everything you send the VA and keep everything that the VA sends you. So, in on this topic about reviewing evidence, let's say a veteran had went to a different examiner and had a DBQ completed and they were denied, would you need to see that previous DBQ completed by another private examiner? If when you're going to complete a DBQ, now the veteran comes to you and asking you to complete a DBQ?
Honestly, it does. I don't. It's not a requirement. It's
Mm.
obviously always helpful if I have an understanding of what the other person experienced. I have had many experiences with veteran where they've had very short evaluations
Mhm.
with other providers, and it kind of went really quickly, and there wasn't any specificity. There was not anything specific enough in there to really tie their conditions to each other. And so it's always helpful to understand how we got to where we got. I
Right.
always say the more information, the better.
Right, right. Thank you. And I think that's key, because when I was going through my claim, I tried to make sure I had everything that that examiner needed to review to help them, because that's going to help them complete a stronger DBQ, based off of evidence, not so much all subjective, but, at least 75, 85% objective. Okay.
Absolutely.
So moving right along, what kind of functional problems like sleep, work, family should a veteran make sure are documented in their DBQ so the VA can't downplay with their symptoms or even the diagnosis?
I would say any functional issue that you know is tied to your mental health, be sure to note that in any mental health evaluation that you're doing when it comes to getting a DBQ or a Nexus letter. All of those functional criteria that you're talking about, I'm talking about things like I can't sleep, I'm feeling anxious, I yell at people in public, I can't play with my kids anymore, I've been divorced 3 times, I can't remember things when I'm at work. All of these things that you're experiencing are tied to specific 38 CFR criteria that the raters are going to look at and see what rating you're going to have. So the more functional things you talk about, it can make the difference between you getting 50%, 70%, etc. So I always recommend when a veteran comes to me, write a personal statement on how your physical condition has impacted your mental health if that's what you're claiming, because you need time to really think through all of the ways that this thing is impacting your life. Ask your family members, ask your spouse. It's not an easy conversation, but ask them to talk to you about how that's impacted the relationships that they have with you. Because at the end of the day, the more you have in there, the more specific you are with your lived experience, the more we're going to have a clear picture of what are the symptoms in the 38 CFR that you meet diagnostic criteria for. Many veterans that come to me, they're so used to having a mask on and minimizing the experiences that they have.
Mhm.
And so they'll go into an evaluation like that. And I tell them, listen, this is not the time for the mask. You can have the mask tomorrow if you really need it. But today, you have to put all the cards on the table because it's going to make the difference in the rating that you get.
Right. And sometimes veterans will reach out to me and they'll ask me, Dwayne, can you review my late statement and tell me, is it good enough? And I'm like, no, because I cannot reasonably articulate your symptomology as it pertains to what you have going on. And you said it that, you know, you have to take the mask off, when you're speaking and when you're writing, putting pen to paper and writing your statement, and be very direct about how this mental health diagnosis impact you socially and occupationally. And that's in the general rating criteria for the mental conditions. And it's on the DBQ because the examiner has to check it. So I always turn that down, but I do tell veterans this: short, direct, and to the point.
Absolutely.
You get into a 10-page lay statement, as a rater, you're gonna lose me. You're gonna lose me. You're gonna lose me. So I always tell veterans, so if you're watching this, veterans, short, direct, and to the point. All right, let's keep going. Dr. Nicholas, what does a 1 hour or longer if I'm sorry, what does a 1 hour longer evaluation matter? Can a doctor just check the boxes quickly and be done with it? Because a lot of veterans are saying my exam was 5 minutes long. They only asked me one question.
Honestly, Dwayne, it genuinely breaks my heart when a veteran calls in and tells me this, that they've only had a 15-minute conversation with a doctor, and that's what their evaluation was based on, and they have to end up going back for an increase because over time their symptoms get worse, and now they're having to kind of come back to the table after the fact. Honestly, I personally don't believe that you can fully get a detailed quality picture of what someone is going through in 15 minutes. And
Mm.
the reason we do usually around an hour, sometimes longer if it's clinically relevant for someone, is because we need to get your full timeline of the things that you've experienced throughout your life. We need to be able to assess everything that you're going through functionally, everything that you're going through at your job, or what you used to go through when you did work. We need a full picture, and we need time to ask you about all of those 38 CFR symptoms to see what you do and what you do not meet criteria for. And in order to be detailed, in order to be specific, in order to provide that quality, it takes time. And so I would recommend to everyone, if you're coming to Tampa Counseling and Wellness, or if you're not coming to Tampa Counseling and Wellness, do your homework and ask them, how long is this evaluation going to take? And if someone's telling you that it's 50 minutes, if they're telling you anything less than 30 minutes, even 30 minutes, I would say is pushing it. Like I would question that a little bit.
Okay. All right. So, last question. Do you offer rebuttals if a claim is denied? And why is it so important for veterans to know this?
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I think it should be standard practice in all any person that provides evaluations to do a rebuttal. Many of our providers were either forensically trained or trained through the VA, some of them even as preferred providers, which meant when they did work for the VA, it was consistently being held to that scrutiny, that top scrutiny that the VA has. So I say that to say that we take a lot of pride in the work that we do. And so at TCW, if you do your evaluation with us and you are denied, we provide a free rebuttal because we believe that good work deserves to be defended. And you've gone through all of this trouble already, that you deserve to have a good defense for your claim, because we stand by the evaluations that we do.
Right. So I'm going to ask you this again because I know a lot of people that's watching this, they missed it. So you said if a previous client or a current client, you do a DBQ for a current client and they come back, they get denied and they come back in, you do a rebuttal and that rebuttal is free. Did I hear that
Absolutely.
correctly?
Absolutely. We don't get them very often, right? Because again, we have quality work. And so if it happens to you, we're going to stand by the work that we do, and we're going to provide you that rebuttal if you've done your evaluation with us.
Yeah. And that's and veterans, I want you to notice what she said. You have to be a previous client. Okay. You cannot have uh been denied by using another examiner's DBQ or just going to a CMP exam. You have to have been initially a client of theirs, and then if you get the DBQ, submit it, and it gets denied, then they'll do the free rebuttal. Okay, so Dr. Nicholas, let everybody know if a veteran wants to reach out to Tampa Counseling and Wellness, how do they reach you? What is that, and what does that process look like?
Sure. So you can always go to www.tampacounselingandwellness.com. And if you go to our Nexus Letter and DBQ page, you can fill out a form right there and we will be in touch with you. Or you can just Google us and you can call us directly. We'll have a happy, smiling person on the other end of the line ready to greet you. And from there, we will set you up with our free consultation to make sure that you are eligible to do a mental health claim. And we'll take you and set you up from the process through there. And actually, Dwayne, we're really excited because now we're able to help even more veterans than we ever have been before, because we have a new payment plan option. So if a veteran doesn't have the resources up front for an evaluation, they can now see if they're eligible for one of our payment plans. And that's a low cost opportunity that we're so excited to be able to provide for our veterans now.
Oh. Well, thank you again, Dr. Nicholas, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I definitely appreciate it. I know this won't be the last time you'll come on the channel and provide myself and other veterans with some very valuable knowledge as it pertains to mental health DBQ. So everyone, with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.